Soul Mirror. I'm your host Shreya, and today we are joined by Antoinette Lee, a US Army veteran, wellness speaker, and host of the new Normal Big Life podcast. From traumatic injury to triumphant living, her story isn't just inspiring, it's a call to take radical ownership of your health and your future. If you have ever wondered life after loss, this conversation is for you. So, welcome, Antoinette. I'm honored to have you on my show.
Thank you, Shreya, for having me. It's so exciting to be here.
And, Antoinette, your recovery journey is beyond powerful. So, what was the first mindset shift that began your new normal?
Well, I came from a medical background, so I'm trained in pharmacology, anatomy, physiology, uh, infection control, disease prevention, advanced first aid, and general dentistry. So I really trusted the medical community. I could speak their language, they could talk to me as a peer. And as much knowledge as I had, and as many questions as I asked about my healthcare and the conventional medicine protocols that were being prescribed, I still was injured by their recommendations. And it took a decade to realize that conventional medicine wasn't working for people like me, sensitives, empaths, energy workers, trauma survivors. Conventional medicine and modern living were becoming part of the cause of disease.
Was there ever a moment where you felt like giving up, and what pulled you?
Absolutely. There were times when, especially at my worst, sickest time after surviving the traumatic brain injury and spine injury, and then the complications from all of the different therapies that were prescribed, I wasn't getting any better. In fact, it was getting worse and worse until I almost died. And really, the day that I thought I would not make it till the next morning, I was laying there in bed with my service dog and I thought, well, this is probably my last moment on earth. I was looking down on my body and my dog wouldn't leave my side, which is not characteristic for her. She would normally go take breaks and have food and water, but she would not leave my side. And she looked like she was saying goodbye. So I felt like I needed to have gratitude for the life that I'd lived, despite having these injuries and illness. I had loved and been loved. I traveled the world. I had known success, um, both athletically and in my career. And, my life could have been worse, right? So I was in gratitude to God for the life I had lived. And I said, but if I get one more day, I will figure out why I'm so sick and I'll help others figure out their healthcare journey along the way. And I did get one more day, and here I am.
Yes, this is so beautiful. And I think so many listeners will see themselves in that fight, especially the moment when you choose to live big and not small.
When I took control of my health, I went from being a passive patient who had conversations with their healthcare providers, but always deferred to their knowledge, always deferred to their recommendation because I thought they knew best. When I became an active participant in my healthcare, I led the protocol that we were going to follow, meaning I listened to what my doctor had to say. I did my own research. I came back and said, this is the route that I want to take versus the doctor telling me what diagnosis, what medication, therapies, and surgeries they wanted me to have. And I was 4 surgeries in with 2 more planned. I had to get out of that cycle and become the driver of the automobile with the doctors as the passenger.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. And I think so powerful too. the way you explained it. And where do you draw the line between acceptance and pushing boundaries?
Oh, that's such a great question. And it's a difficult balance. I mean, you don't want to be known as a difficult patient, right? In air quotes. But you also can't be a pushover. You also can't just blindly accept that a doctor who scans your electronic medical records for 5 minutes before your scheduled appointment, and they believe that they know so much about you because they're trained that when they hear hooves, it's a horse, and it's always a horse. And this is how you treat a horse. But some patients like me, we are a zebra. We're not a horse. We sound like, but the normal protocol for a horse won't work on a zebra, right? So they're trained in a certain way, and you have to push back because in my case, for 3 years, doctors gaslit me. They wouldn't run the tests that I know that I needed. They instead, when I said, I have unexplained weight loss. I feel like my organs are both inflamed and swollen. I can't breathe. My heart rate is erratic. Yet I'm a sponsored adventure sports athlete. I'm in top shape, but I'm back using a service dog and a cane, not a walker yet, but a cane. And I feel like I'm very sick on the inside. And I had a cardiologist tell me, well, you should accept body positivity because beauty comes in all shapes and sizes. And I don't know why my unexplained 40-pound weight gain for someone who's athletic and eats well and does all of those lifestyle healthy lifestyle changes, has made all those healthy lifestyle changes, why he would talk to me about body positivity. Just accepting the 40-pound weight gain is basically what he said. And then a rheumatologist told me, after listening to my concerns about chronic inflammation and other disabilities that I was developing. And he said, well, do you think it might be gender dysmorphia? And I thought, well, I don't know how we got from A to B in this conversation, but no, I don't think that's what it is. But I would like you to run these 3 tests to test me for a chronic inflammation problem. By the time I found doctors, and 5 of them gaslit me, by the time I found doctors who would run the test, I was very sick and my heart was starting to have problems. So not only did I recommend the test, I recommend the treatment protocol that I think I should be using. And I had to push back when they said, no, we're not going to use natural methods. It will take too long. It's not going to work. And I said, yes, we will, because this is my body. And I've been living in it for 57 years, 56 years at that time. I'll be 58 in November. I know what's going on inside my body. So you do have to strike a good balance between not being a difficult person, but also to be polite but firm with your doctor when you need to push back. And because I pushed back in those instances, I got treatment in time to save my heart from a very critical situation. The chronic inflammation was damaging my heart, and I've been able to reverse it naturally.
Yes, that's such a delicate balance, being honest about your body while still challenging its limit. It's really powerful. And outdoor adventure plays a huge role in your healing. So what yes, so outdoor adventure plays a huge role in your healing. So uh, what is it about nature that accelerate the well?
Oh, wow, you ask such great questions. I love this question, by the way. So when I first started to take control of my health, I was using a walker, service dog, and a full-time caregiver at the time. And an occupational therapist recommended that I use archery for retraining my brain for some of the similar um, types of tasks that require focus, like having this conversation, reading a book, watching television. I couldn't do those things because I couldn't focus long enough to do it. So they recommended archery and it worked very well. In 30 days, my brain was functioning so much better. Next, they recommended whitewater kayaking. And I thought, there's no way I can do this. I can barely walk to the bathroom on my own. However, once I sat in the little plastic boat and I learned how to kayak, and then I got on the river, there was a sense of freedom that nature gave me back my mobility. It gave me back a community of people to go outside and adventure with. It made me feel more confident that I can overcome my health challenges because I had overcome so much just to get out on the river. And so that really started my whole journey into reconnecting to nature and reconnecting to some traditional ways that my parents, who both grew up on farms during the Great Depression, had learned as children. And I just reconnected with those traditional ways, and it dramatically improved my health.
Yes, that is so beautiful. And also, like, can someone who lives in a city still tap into that same healing energy?
Absolutely. Nature is all around us. And if you bring plants into your home, like in your home, you can bring the outdoors inside. You can walk outside, and even though you're surrounded by concrete, there's still some nature. You'll interact with some trees. You can walk to a local park. You can just urban trek or urban hike in your community, and you're getting fresh air, you're getting sunshine. Vitamin D is very important for people like me with dark skin. You get to see other people and be close um, to the earth if you remove your shoes and start walking on the grass and feeling the trees and sitting under the trees and just soaking in all that good, fresh oxygen that the trees are emitting as you're just sitting there. You don't have to go do something super active like whitewater kayaking or horseback riding or some of the things that I do. You can do something simple by just noticing nature, but being outside in it. And then also, especially if you live surrounded by a lot of concrete, I live in a cabin, I'm surrounded by wood and plant life that I bring inside. But if you're surrounded by concrete, add nature into your surroundings to bring the outdoors in.
Yes, that is so beautiful. That I think it's such a beautiful reminder that nature is always around us. We just need to find it, that how to use that or how to have that. And also, you have so how has like you were speaking about trauma and advocacy, how has sharing your story helped you heal?
Well, it's very validating to say out loud that I have been harmed by an industry set up to help. It's very validating to tell my story and have hundreds, sometimes even thousands, depending on the side of the audience, of people say, I had a similar journey, or I'm going through a similar journey with a loved one. And so by telling my story, I get to hear other people's stories that validate my experience. Not that I need that validation because I'm very self confident, if you haven't got that already. but, um, but sometimes it is nice to hear someone say, I see you and I see myself in you, and you are helping me, because that is like a gift that I receive every time I hear someone say, I see myself in you. It's just it's like nature or the universe or God saying, see, you were right. You were right for pushing back. You were right for charting your own course. And sometimes when I'm receiving a lot of pushback from doctors, especially, it's so lovely to have an ordinary patient like me say, I see you, I get you, I've been there, I am there.
Mm. Yes. There's so much power in turning pain into purpose, and you do that with such strength and grace. It just seems so nice.
I think you asked what is one small step they can
Step.
take?
Yes.
Yes. The very first step in the journey to create your new normal is to decide what that new normal is. So I sat down and I thought, well, I've been a corporate executive, I've been an athlete, I've been all of these things. Who am I going to be on the other side of ditching this walker and ditching the service dog? And well, I didn't ditch her, she's still my pet, but ditching my need for her assistant and my caregiver. Who will I be? How will I live? What kinds of people will be around me? What will I do for work? What will I do for recreation? How will I show up in the world? That's the number one question to ask yourself on that journey, because from that question, you will figure out the destination. And your path might zigzag before you get where you are. But if you don't know where you're going, you will certainly never arrive. So, figuring out who you want to be in your new normal is the number one step. And the second step is remember to dream big. If I had never dreamed big, I wouldn't have the life that I am. So I went from being taken care of by other people and by my service dog to a sponsored adventure sports athlete over 50. And they thought I was 35. When the first company said that, I was like, oh, they're just being polite. When every brand that approached me said, what are you, like in your 30s, about 35, 36? I think I was 52 at the time. I was like, okay, maybe in their mind they see me this way because I feel young inside. And what's funny is that on the inside I feel 35. I don't feel 25. I don't feel 15. I feel 35. And that's the age that people guess. I don't
Yeah.
think they're wrong. I mean, I don't think they're right about that. I think I look my age. But it's interesting that I project a certain thing and they perceive that thing the same way.
It's about consistency, one empowered step at a time. And they say true that you really look like 35. And when you told me also that you were 57 or 58, I was a little shocked too. And also, what would you say to someone who is afraid to speak their truth?
I completely understand you because even people who love you may still gaslight you because my caregivers had a certain, like, family and paid caregivers, they have a certain identity that's wrapped up in taking care of Antoinette, right? And when I strive for wholeness and healing and independence, that takes away their livelihood in some cases, and it takes away their identity as a caregiver, a family member caregiver. And so I think it's really important to stand firm on the life you want, that new normal, and then it becomes easier to speak up from your heart, to open your mouth and say, this is who I am, this is what I want, and this is how I want to get there. And here's another very important message I would like to add. Any person, whether it's your healthcare provider, your caregiver, or a parent, or a friend that loves you, who is telling you how to live your life, what to do, what to think, how to be, they don't have your best interest in heart. It doesn't mean they're not a good person, but they don't have your best interest at heart, because the people who have your best interest at heart will ask you what you want and will negotiate with you to give you a bit of what you're asking for as a person with a disability, while at the same time keeping you safe. They don't force anything on you. So if there's anyone in your life trying to force something on you, they don't have your best interest at heart. That's my opinion. That's my opinion from experience.
Yes, and that is so, so true. And thank you for sharing so much knowledge, your experiences, your stories with us. This is really beautiful.
Thank you so much, Shreya, for having me. I
What's
have
the best
so
way?
enjoyed this conversation.
Yes, this is so beautiful. And If after this my listeners want to connect with you, then what's the best way?
Oh, yes, you can find me on X at NNBL blog. You can find me at nnbl.blog is my website. And wherever you get your podcast, you can find me at New Normal Big Life.
Yes, and I will make sure to attach all the details and links below so that the listeners can find them easily and get in touch with you and know more about you and have a conversation because you're a wonderful person and your energy is really, really like so nice and so warm. I actually have no words. And
Oh.
to all my listeners, her journey is living proof that the body may bend, but the spirit can rise. So, if you are waiting for a sign to reclaim your power and rewrite your health story, this is it. Start small, dream big, and live your new normal.